Good evening and welcome to LegalTech Live. I'm your host, Nick Rishwain, and I'm here tonight with two wonderful female founders. You've probably heard of them. They've been around. They've been killing it for several years now. I'm with Talitha Kozlowski and Kristin Tyler, co-founders of LawClerk.legal. And I'll give you a little background on LawClerk here. And since there's two founders, I'm going to let you guys do a little bit more of the personal bio background. LawClerk is where busy attorneys go to hire freelance lawyers on demand for project work. Their nationwide network has 1,400 plus qualified freelance lawyers with all levels of experience and expertise. You can find them at lawclerk.legal. Founders, thank you for being here with us tonight. I appreciate it. They reached out to me on Twitter, saw that I was calling for female founders for the series we've been doing, and I appreciate when folks reach out because I never know who's shy. I don't want to attack anybody publicly like, hey, come on the show. Sometimes I end up, so I do appreciate you reaching out. Thank you both for being here. You're both lawyers. And from what I'm gathering from LinkedIn, you're both at the same firm. So maybe we'll start with Talitha. She's on my left here. And then Kristin, give us a little bit of your background. And I'm sure you guys will, or you ladies will join in and say how this started, how it went from law practice to legal tech.
Absolutely. So happy to be here. Thank you for having us. So goodness,
where to start?
Right? So I've been practicing for more years than I'd like to admit. We're getting uncomfortably close to 20 at this point in time.
Sure.
I'm a corporate bankruptcy attorney. I've practiced at a regional firm, and in 2015, a group of 9 partners left to create a boutique law firm specializing in a couple of practice areas. And so I've been practicing with that group, Garmin Turner Gordon, since 2015. In 2017-ish, we started working on the idea of law clerk, which in part was spurred out of this transition from the big regional firm where you have, a plethora of associates to help you at anything you need, right? Any practice area, you need a securities lawyer, you need a gaming lawyer, you need somebody to work around the clock for you. You have them at your disposal. When we opened up our small shop, which
that should be a note to associates who listen to this later. Sorry.
Don't apply to their firm.
She gave it away.
The old firm.
Oh, the old firm. Okay.
We don't do that anymore.
Yeah. So, before you go too deep into law clerk legal, just Kristin, you guys are at the same, or you ladies, excuse me, are at the same boutique law firm now, right?
We are. We met when we were both associates at the larger regional firm that Talitha mentioned. We both made partner there and then left in 2015. So yeah, I am not a corporate bankruptcy lawyer. And in fact, it's very common for me when Talitha starts talking bankruptcy for me to go, quit talking bankruptcy to me. I don't understand it. I'm a trust and estates lawyer, handle probates, all that kind of stuff. So I live in a much different world, but I love my clients. I love my practice. And yeah, we are still partners at the firm. We have active client cases. And in a lot of ways, it's been kind of our test kitchen for law clerk over the years, but it's been a big tool for us there.
Excellent. And so law clerk, I want to say I learned about law clerk. I think I want to say I ran into Talitha, and it was at maybe Lawyeronomics in 2017 or something like that. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Does that sound so? And that was what 2017 is when you guys found when the firm was founded, right?
It would have been 2018. Probably. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's right. So 2017, we started. So moving from the big firm to the boutique firm, we realized what we were missing. We were missing subject matter expertise. We were missing bodies. We still were very fortunate to have fantastic clientele, and we needed help figuring out a better way to service them because while we wanted to keep these clients. We wanted to keep these cases. We didn't ever want to go back to a big firm. And so Law Clerk sort of grew out of that. That's how it was part of our need and our experience that helped us figure out that, like, hey, this is something we need. And if we need it, other people probably need it.
So needing essentially support attorneys or support staff.
Exactly. Yeah. At all levels, right? Everybody needs somebody to help them just plug through those, the huge volume of discovery. But we also need really smart people who have a lot of experience to help with much more sophisticated. You have that securities question, for instance. I have no business doing securities, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it pops up in my cases. And so, you need those subject matter experts. And so Law Clerk really was devised out of this need for these people. And so in 2018, we rolled out sort of our nationwide network, which really we allow attorneys to hire freelance attorneys for any sort of project work across the country.
Okay.
It's really, yeah.
Yeah. And so 2017 was like the kind of building it, building the sort of referral, the referral service aspect of it, I'm assuming, or the communications, the back end.
Right.
Okay. And then 2018 was the launch. Is that right?
Yeah. We'd like to say our big launch party was the tech show, ABA Tech Show.
ABA Tech Show. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so you needed this support then. So you were solving essentially problems that you were experiencing now without having a massive staff. Is that right? Is that kind of the impetus for it?
No, absolutely. That was absolutely sort of the impetus to get it going, was like, this is something we need to solve this. And if we need this, other people must need this. And so we did. We spent 2017 beta testing on our associates, and nobody likes to tell you what you've done poorly more than your associates. So
sure.
It was really a great beta test.
So tell us then, first of all, I guess I would want to know, were there any other freelance, was there any competition in this space for you? Or were you just not able to find what you needed when you decided, okay, I can't find what I need and let's build it? And I don't need you to name competitors or anything like that. Was that, or did you, was there, I can't find what I need a securities attorney and I just can't find it easily for freelance?
Well, not really on the scale that we thought was possible. There certainly are other players in the space. I mean, there have been services like ours for BigLaw for a long time. I mean, that's something that a lot of smaller attorneys or smaller firms, solo attorneys don't realize is BigLaw has leveraged contract lawyers, freelance lawyers for decades and had a lot of success with it. And so we wanted to, number one, build something that would really be customized for solos and small firms, but that also would have a nationwide reach. Okay. There were other services definitely kind of by smaller geographic markets. Like I can think of one in California. I can think of one based in Chicago. I can think of several in Florida. We wanted something that would work nationwide. And that's what Talitha often calls our secret sauce, is our business model that we that she especially took a lot of months and years to dig into, to devise the type of model that would allow this to work on a nationwide scale.
Okay, excellent. And you we'll get to funding eventually, and whether you're self-funded or family and friends, but you launched, and what was you've had tons of feedback from your associates. Did you start in a small market at all? Did you start, all right, now because I think you're located in Arizona, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
We're in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Las Vegas, I'm sorry.
We're in the Southwest. So yeah, initially we did think we obviously launched in our hometown, Las Vegas, Nevada, state of Nevada. Did a little bit in Arizona, dabbled with California, kind of initially planned to just stay on the West Coast. And then I remember that not long after we, hit the button to go live, all of a sudden there were days where we had people signing up in New York, New Jersey. And we were like, does anybody know these people? Who are these people? Like, they were finding us. And it made us realize very quickly that we needed to go big or go home. right away.
Okay, good. Which is good to know, because when I've talked with probably over 100 founders now, who sometimes, depending on what they're offering, they have to choose jurisdictions, right? Because if you're offering a research sort of program, you have to kind of build it out per jurisdiction, and you go after the bigger, more litigious ones first, generally. But in your experience, did you have to then did you go by jurisdiction, or was it okay, we can just sort of open the floodgates and anybody who wants to sign up, and then we start vetting people from all over the US? How did that work?
So as sort of Kristin was sort of indicating, we did initially think we were going to go sort of region by region. And we quickly realized that that was probably not a good game plan.
Okay.
And so we pivoted very, very quickly and went nationwide. And
other than Indiana.
That
was the one state we couldn't.
That's right.
Their ethics rules have since changed, and so now we are all 50 states. But
okay,
yeah, that's right.
Snafu.
We had an asterisk.
Yeah,
in India,
not
49
Indiana.
states.
So which is this is an ongoing issue for a lot of legal tech companies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Facing the ethics issues, but you're now in all 50 states, and you were pretty early. Where did you notice it? So it's a marketplace, essentially. You're serving lawyers, but you're also getting the freelance attorneys work. Where did you notice, what was the biggest driver at first? Was there more demand for freelance attorneys, or were there more freelance attorneys who wanted to get work from other attorneys? Either of you. I'm noticing you have a way of fielding questions, or else I would call one of you out, but it actually looked like you've both been through this enough that one chooses to answer certain questions. So
yeah, we have our favorite topics to discuss.
I noticed that rather quickly. So whomever would like to answer this question.
Oh goodness. So when we first started, we had a lot of freelancers that registered really quickly. I think it took, so you had your attorneys who were looking for new business models, better ways to run their practices. But I think it took a little bit more familiarity, right? Our name, on the hiring side, it took attorneys hearing our name, seeing us more, getting comfortable with the fact that, we are going to be around for a long time. We are able to provide this service. We are reputable, to get comfortable with posting projects, with having freelance attorneys do their work. On the freelance side, I think candidly, we were surprised by, we sort of expected you would have your first years coming out of law school, your young associates. And what we found right away and was remarkable to me is the talent of attorneys who were looking to continue practicing law, but practicing law differently, right? Practicing for 30 hours a week, or 20 hours a week, or 15 hours a week, so that they could take care of parents because they were a military spouse and they traveled, because they had young children, because they were retired, for a whole host of reasons. And so I know we were just absolutely taken back, and continue to be, by just the remarkably skilled attorneys who want to practice. They just don't want to be at a firm. They don't want to have to find their own clients, and they don't have to manage an office, and they don't have to do all of the business of law that makes practicing law miserable.
So that's interesting. So an expectation was that this might be, we'll get some first year grads who are in between trying to find that full-time gig, and we'll fill it with that. And you found actually there were some more mature attorneys who were looking to potentially go more gig economy style.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, one of our best referral sources for those higher talent level freelancers initially were the bar associations and the professionals that work there, because they oftentimes serve in this type of role very, very casually, like, hey, I could really use some extra work, anybody needs help. And so they were like, oh, great, go sign up at LawClerk. And they would send people to us to help people find work. And I also just want to mention too that, at the start, I think you mentioned a number 1,400 freelancers. We actually are much bigger than that. We now have thousands and thousands and thousands of attorneys on both sides of the equation. We've grown incredibly a lot in the last year, especially. And
so I got that from Kristin. I got that from your LinkedIn.
I'm going to have to change that.
Sorry, I should have confirmed that before, but I had a feeling, because I've done the same with my LinkedIn, right?
Yeah.
So I had a feeling there may be some changes there.
Oh yeah. So that's one big difference. And then also, in addition to the project-based work, which is how we got started, you need a motion, boom, you can get that done as a project. We also earlier this year rolled out our subscription-based option. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but we can give you an overview on that too.
Yeah. Well, before we get to the subscription-based option, let's talk about the monetization part. So what the attorney is paying. Oh, and Morris Lilienthal says hello over in the Facebook group. I think you ladies probably know Mo. Karen, Renee, and Maureen Blando are here in the Zoom with us. Hello. If you have any questions for our guests tonight, please get them in. If you're watching on Facebook, let us know. And if I'm looking over here, it's just because I'm looking at the Facebook group.
Mo, I want to know if you rode the Peloton today.
Did you ride the Peloton today, Mo? Let's hear. Let's see if you got that. So the monetization part. So how does the cut happen between the attorney, your cut, and what does the attorney pay and what does the freelancer get? Just sort of give us that idea.
It's really simple. Number one, there's no fee to sign up for Law Clerk. There's no monthly fees. So unlike a lot of services that attorneys are using or they're using every month, they're paying a monthly fee whether or not they actually use it. We're not like that. So no monthly fees.
Okay.
You make an account. And then when you need, say you need help with a big research project, you don't have time to really dig into an issue. So you need a research memo. You would post that as a project and it's posted at a flat fee price. The hiring attorney sets the price.
Okay.
So, I usually tell people like, hey, if you have a research memo and you think it's 8 to 10 hours of work and you're willing to pay a freelancer, $50 or $100 an hour for that work, you want to price it anywhere from $400 to, $1,000, like whatever talent level you want to bring out, you're going to get what you pay for. So
right.
That's
so don't say it's $50 for, and expect you're going to get the best thing. That
exactly.
Makes sense. Okay.
So for ease of math, let's say the hiring attorney posts a project for a motion for $1,000. Our commission is 28%. The freelancers paid 72%. They see that number up front. It's very transparent. There's no additional fees on top of that. And out of our commission, we pay all of the payment processing fees. And we also handle the end of the year tax reporting. So we issued the 1099s to the freelancer. It's one less thing for a busy attorney to have to worry about every year.
And especially if, as Talitha was mentioning, if this is the attorney who was tired of the practice of law or the business portion of the practice of law, that's removed from them. I get the 1099 at the end of the year, and I'm good. Okay. And Mo also says that he got 10 miles with Cody today.
Nice job, Mo.
Well done.
You're proud of
Well done, Mo. Well done. Maureen asks, what are the demographics of the lawyers? More women than men, vice versa? And that's a good question, Maureen, because I want to follow up with what are the kind of jurisdictional demographics like, but how about the demographics of the lawyers, freelancers, I think.
So it's probably pretty close to 50-50. It is, it's, I can't say it's exactly 50-50, but the split is pretty close, which is something like that I think we're both proud of. Like it's, it's really, it's wonderful to be giving everybody an opportunity to practice law differently, but particularly I think in our experience, we had so many friends that felt like they got pushed out of the practice of law because they wanted to raise children or they couldn't, put in the 2,100 hours. And the idea that we can help them find a way to continue practicing law, to continue to be putting that education and that knowledge and that experience to use is something that really makes me feel good. I know makes Kristin feel good. Like that's something we're really proud of.
Yeah, that is cool. And then, I mean, one of the aspects of that that people are afraid of when they go to raise kids is that they're not going to have the
Mhm.
skills to get back into the workforce.
Right.
Yeah.
But if I'm putting in 10 hours a week and doing
Mhm.
motion work, I can say that I have continued working. And
Right.
that's important for when maybe they no longer have to be at home.
Yeah. And we see people add that on their resume now. We
Right.
see it on, it's kind of cool if you go on LinkedIn and you search lawclerk.legal, you'll find a whole bunch of people that say they work for us because they're freelancing for us as,
And so that
that's what their
kind of
gig is right now.
continues the work that they've
Mhm.
got. I am employed. Was not out of the workforce for a number
Yeah.
of years. That's really cool. Demographically speaking, and Chris Conjero says hello. I don't know if you know Chris, but he's a good guy. Hi, Chris. Demographically, are you noticing freelancers? Is it predominantly my day job is dealing with expert witnesses, and most of the case referrals come in from, of course, New York, Texas, Florida, California. What are you noticing on the freelance side? Do you have a pretty good spread geographically?
I'm sure we both want to comment on that, but I would say we have the whole spectrum. Oh my gosh. We joke often that our users by and large followed the I'm blanking.
The
electoral map. Yes. So
Okay.
I think who's got the most votes? That's where we also have the most freelancers. So
Which
New York,
makes
New
sense.
Jersey, Florida, Texas, California, like we've got huge user bases in all of those states on both sides of the equation. Now, on the demographics of the freelancers, we have everything from just, newer grads who maybe have done some pretty impressive clerkships from big name schools, and they just don't want the big law lifestyle. They very intentionally are charting a different career, and they're hard workers. They are very smart, and they are great communicators to meet deadlines. So we get the whole spectrum from newbies who are pretty fresh out of school with some pretty seriously impressive credentials to either retired or semi-retired attorneys with decades of experience. That's probably the demographic I get the most excited about. For example, today I was working with a client who's trying to hire someone in a subscription role to help with her bankruptcy practice. And we found a freelancer in a neighboring state that has practiced bankruptcy for 30 plus years. He's a graduate of Columbia Law School. He's slowing down. He doesn't want to manage his own clients anymore, but he really wants to stay active and do a little bit of legal work. And I just think what a tremendous opportunity for this hiring attorney that we're helping connect with this freelancer who's very well seasoned. And, there's a high level of mentorship along the way there that can't really be quantified, but the stories that we hear from our users that are working with these attorneys who've practiced for decades and decades, like the relationship and the soft skills they learn from those attorneys are invaluable.
Very cool. Very cool. And I'm sorry, we did, as happens with me, we got on a conversational topic and we didn't get back to the subscription base when we were talking about your pricing model. But the subscription, you had we did the project per project basis earlier, and you just referenced the subscription model again. What does that offer, and who is paying the subscription fee there?
Yeah, so subscription is so exciting. It launched in January and grew faster than it surpassed our wildest dreams. So,
okay.
The thing I heard, and you heard over and over going to countless legal conferences and CLEs over the past few years was, you tell people you could do this project work on a flat fee, and they're like, well, can't you do something hourly? Like attorneys, for better or for worse, they get hours. We live in the world of hours. And so we built this subscription-based project where an attorney or a firm can hire a freelance lawyer anywhere from 20 hours per 4 weeks to 160 hours. So 20 hours to 160 hours. Okay. So when you look at your to-do list and you think, once a week I could delegate some sort of a motion or a discovery project or research, and maybe I need 5 hours of help every week. Okay, there's 20 hours a month. And so they can customize what they need within those hours parameters. We've seen a number of really creative attorneys come in and customize it even more. For example, one attorney that has a real estate practice where a portion of the practice is transactional. So he hired a transactional freelancer for, I believe it was like 30 hours a month per 4 weeks. And then he also hired a litigator for 60 hours per 4 weeks.
Okay.
So you can customize it. Whereas if you were hiring from your own local talent pool, you might find an associate a few years out of school who got great grades on their real estate exams, but it's very unlikely you're going to find someone who has deep expertise in both the transactional side of the practice and the litigation side. So they can mix and match, choose, they can flex up or down on hours. If you settle a case, you need to decrease hours, whatever. We also have a number of attorneys who've hired not one, but the most was 5 freelance virtual associates for a period of several months to get through some massive work that had to get done.
So this subscription-based service is more like having a staff or associate who's there for a longer period of time is really what it comes down to. Okay. If I'm probably oversimplifying that, but
no, it is. It's your virtual associate, to integrate into your firm with whatever workflows that you want to use. So,
but I don't have to pay all the employment costs, the workers' comp,
all the overhead. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Gotcha.
And the process is you give us your parameters, what you're looking for. We go out and pre-vet people. We set up the interviews. It takes, maybe an hour, a few hours compared to the traditional hiring process, which can take a lot of hours, a lot of days. Right. So we really take out a lot of the headache from hiring, and it's just a lot more flexible. If if it doesn't work out, then we can rematch you with someone, or if, like I said, you need more help or less help, we can flex up or down. So very, very flexible way for a solo attorney and a growing firm to get the help they need.
Yeah, very good. Very good. So when you started, we do talk to legal tech startups here. You probably a little beyond that at this point, but we do ask folks about financing and fundraising and that sort of thing. How did you ladies go about that?
So when we started, we approached our partners, we approached a handful of colleagues, and we have just been remarkably fortunate. We were able to reach our objective for our first fundraising goal within 4 days.
Oh, wow.
Which is, I'm just incredibly blessed. We are surrounded by some really smart people. We are surrounded by some folks that have been very successful and are very well capitalized just in our practices, in our lives, in the people we deal with. And so we've had the luxury from the start through today to not have to have taken institutional money. We've been able to sort of raise it organically from people we've known.
And most of whom are other lawyers.
Yeah, the vast majority.
They hear about it, they get it instantly. They see the value.
Yeah.
That is nice about what you're offering is that's something that they could pretty instantly see. It's I guess it's a SaaS product, but the marketplace for I need additional associates, or I need additional staff for an attorney, that's fairly easy to see. So it's technically you've had investors, and then I'm assuming bootstrapped the remainder of that because you had clients right away who needed service.
Yeah, we had revenue from day one, which is amazing. I will really, you go live and you just sort of hold your breath, right? You have that moment of like, oh gosh.
Right.
And
we got a project. Now, if we did that, that's all we do all day.
Right. But that's nice having revenue from day one. It's not everybody's, it's not every startup story, right? So that is nice. That is a very nice change. And so are you continuing to raise, or are you happy with the way the company is progressing at this point?
So we are, we had been sort of dabbling with maybe looking at some institutional money, and we had a conversation with our existing investor pool, and that group said we'd rather not take all of the all of the restrictions that come with that, and we would rather fund. We're really excited about what we're doing. We're excited about the growth. We're excited about the success you're having, and so we ended up I mean, thankfully, again, sort of oversubscribed for the last fundraising round we did. So I think we're
without
probably
having to
pretty,
go to institutional money, which
yeah.
is really
So
nice.
it is, it feels, I mean, it's just sort of, we've been so fortunate, right? It's just,
Yeah.
it's not a typical experience. And we are just super appreciative of everybody who's invested, but also very cognizant of how fortunate we've been in that respect.
That, which is nice to hear. It's not all we did it alone, and we did it, you know, the some of the founder stories we hear from outside of the legal tech space, you know, they tend to lionize. I enjoy hearing the gratitude towards others. So tell us a couple of the struggles. We're about 30 minutes in here. I don't want to keep you ladies all night. We're all still in our offices. So tell us what were some of the early struggles that you had, and then we want to get to some of the successes as well. Maybe one identifiable struggle from each of you would be nice.
Oh goodness, only one.
I know it's so hard. Maybe that one that was just really frightening to you in the early stages, or felt overwhelming.
I think so. I've been really involved with our development side, and there was a day, and I'm surprised I don't have the date burned in my memory, but the panic is still there. I still feel it.
Okay.
We had the site go down. It was minutes, but it went down for minutes. And that level, that terror of like, oh my gosh, what just happened? That was early on. We were, you know, it definitely was still 2018, but that was a very scary minutes of like, oh my gosh, what happened? Like, you know, just having no understanding of like,
because you're coming from a legal background, right? And not the technical background, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, as somebody who runs a website daily, like when I have to ask, did any of your customers notice or mention anything when it went down?
Well, that embarrassingly, that is how we were alerted.
That's how you alerted. Okay.
Thankfully, it was instantaneous.
Yes.
But yes, no, it was
so that
terrifying. And then you have to send out the note of like, oh my gosh, we had this, you know, what happened? Yeah. And, you know, at that time we had a pretty finite pool of users, but at the same time, at that point, you know, every one of those users is so valuable. And so losing their trust was just utterly terrifying. Yeah. So that was a rough moment. Oh, yeah. That was a rough day.
That was a rough day. Okay. All right. But also fairly minimal in the grand scheme of things, right? Once you came to realize how that works, pretty minimal.
So certainly looking back, that it, you know, and thank goodness it happened then, right? Like, thank goodness, because we knew the steps we needed to take to make sure that we were protected, so that never, ever, 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 ever happens again. Yeah.
Right.
But it was that was a rough day.
Okay. And Kristin, how about you?
Well, you know, at the end of the day, I always tell everyone in the company, we're all in marketing. This is all a marketing endeavor to get the word out. And like so many early marketing snafus that now it's just like, oh my God, like I remember, what was our first tagline that we had on like our tablecloth at the table at the booth? It was like a legal services marketplace. So everybody walk over, oh, you do marketing. I need a new website. No, we don't do that. No. Right. So like, just kind of like bonehead things like that. That's like, oh yeah, no, why did we say that? Like,
and marketplace outside of the tech field, people don't think of it. It's certainly legal. Is not comfortable as outside of legal tech. Hearing marketplace, lawyers are like, what?
Yeah.
So
okay. Things like that. I don't know.
Karen asks, Karen in the Zoom asks, do you have in-house tech developers or hire your tech as needed? That's a good question, Karen.
That is a great question. So today we have nine individuals in our development group. So we have a pretty extensive development group. We are constantly improving, adding new features, adding new systems. And so that's been really fun to help grow that. You know, we started with one engineer and now we have a team of 9, and it's really super exciting.
I have to ask.
They were formerly, you know, an outsourced company and now in-house. So
they're now in-house. So I have to ask,
They're all in-house.
Are they actually in the same building as your law firm is, or is everybody remote, or how's that work?
Most everybody has been remote post-COVID.
Right.
It's we tried to bring folks back in, and then, you know, you sort of have the second wave. So I would say we are pretty much remote at this point.
And it's pretty common for engineers to be remote anyway these days. So that's why it's kind of what made me ask that. It's a great question, Karen. How did you feel as non-technical founders dealing with engineers? Was there a learning curve there for you?
Wow. I still don't understand it. That is Talitha's world. She handles that. I'm just like, I don't know. I just need it. I just need it to go from here to here. The kind of tell me to drag and drop it somewhere. But this is I think a fair question for startup founders. It's not. It is a different experience.
It has been a huge learning curve. And even all these years later, I still start most conversations with, I'm probably using the wrong words, but here is what I need accomplished. And let me explain where we're trying to get to in case I'm not using any of the right words.
Right. Well, how did you deal with that from a learning standpoint? How did you pick up books and try and understand some development? Did you just sit down with your devs and say, show me how I get from point A to point B, and this is what I
twofold. So we started, our development was initially outsourced through another company. And I had the world's most incredible product manager, who just brilliant young woman, just remarkable. Love her. And she spent a long time tutoring me and had just incredible patience with helping bring me along. And so I honestly, I don't know what I would have done without her, because she spoke the language, but she was also able to break it down for me in a way that I could understand. And
I'm still convinced that she sometimes used different words with us than she did with the engineering team.
I think that's accurate in my experience with product managers. I think that's accurate. They're sort of translators in many respects.
No, she was incredible. I don't know what I would have done without her. And so when she ultimately decided to stay home with little ones, and so that forced me into the position of actually having to have lose my translator, lose my my mentor.
Right.
But it's been
she's doing great.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's been wonderful. It's been really fantastic. I've loved it. But it you know, I'm very comfortable being a lawyer. It has been humbling experience.
Right. You've already got your subject matter expertise, and now I'm learning a new language kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's interesting. Any recommendation? Or let's do a kind of what has been a shining success for each of you from your founder perspective. What have you enjoyed or kind of celebrated the most? We'll start with Kristin.
Well, I'm a big purpose person, and that's really the only reason I would step away from my clients, who I love dearly. I love the families that I help with my estate planning practice, and to take kind of a, reduced role with that and step into law clerk. I was all about the purpose, and I saw the role that this could play in a profession that is a really hard profession. Like, it is incredibly stressful. It's incredibly demanding. And if we can provide a service to busy, stressed out lawyers to get them the help they need in a very flexible, affordable way, it takes a little bit of that pressure off. On the flip side, if you have attorneys who for a whole variety of reasons, don't want the traditional law firm career. We're providing a network, an avenue for them to pursue those goals as well. And I love it, love it, love it when I hear stories of, I had a solo attorney in Nashville call, and he had done projects. He tried out subscription. He's like, Kristin, I made $7,000 more in my first month of subscription. Like that's huge money for a solo. Or we literally get thank you letters from our freelancers. We had a really nice handwritten thank you from a guy. He's like, I don't know what I would do without Law Clerk. This is how I pay my rent and buy groceries and all the stuff for my family. And, it's those stories of the real impact that we're having on human lawyers that is exciting for me and keeps me going.
That's, I like hearing that hearing from the customers is usually the thing. Talitha, how about you?
I just want to put like exclamation points after what Kristin just said. Like it is. Those are the, like, every time you get a note of like, thank you, or we have within the company a Slack channel that's like stuff our users say, and every time somebody posts like just positive feedback, it validates what we're doing, because like being a lawyer is hard, and running a law practice is hard, and the idea that like we are helping people make more money and maybe get to see their kids more and, make it to the band recital. Those things really make me feel good and make me, want to make sure that we grow this, that we help more attorneys, that we help more people enjoy the practice of law more.
Yeah, great. Was being purpose driven and wanting to enjoy the practice more, and I don't want to presume, but was there some catalyst for when you moved into your boutique firm, was that kind of a driving force there? Because it sounds like that was a purpose then, and a purpose with the creation of the company. Is that, am I being too presumptuous there?
No, 100%. That was absolutely the objective of moving from the big firm to the small firm, was to give people flexibility, to enjoy life a little bit more, to have more control of your practice, to not have all the conflicts, just personnel as well as like actual, conflicts with clients. It was to simplify and make life better. And I don't know. I think I certainly know every single one of our partners would say being in a small firm is so much better.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I've heard from many. But it seemed like if we're getting a theme of a purpose here, that did seem to flow into the smaller firm and then into Law Clerk. So absolutely. Don't want to keep you all night. How do folks get in touch with you if they want to hear more about Law Clerk, or they have questions for you as a founder or something to that effect? How do they get in touch with you? Kristin, please.
All the ways. So you can find us on the web at lawclerk.legal. We're on all of your favorite social media platforms. We've got a great YouTube channel. If you like learning by video, go check out some of our videos there. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. And if you have questions directly, I get a lot of notes in my LinkedIn inbox. You're welcome to reach out to me there, or my email is ktyler@lawclerk.legal.
And my email is tgray@lawclerk.legal. And I'm terrible at LinkedIn, so email is way better.
Excellent. And they are on Twitter, since we are talking to a legal tech crowd mostly, where everybody's Twitter, it is lawclerk.legal. Is the username or the handle on Twitter, and they are at lawclerk.legal, which I like that you have the Twitter handle the same. I'm supposing that other social media is similar, using the .legal and then just making it lawclerk.legal. I like that. Thank you, ladies, for being here tonight. I really appreciate the time you spent with us, telling us about your journey. Don't disappear when we stop recording. Thank you, Karen, Maureen, Mo, Chris. Chris says, I'm grateful you shared your story tonight. Good luck with your mission. He said it all sounds fantastic, and he was grateful to hear that.
Oh,
Thank you,
thank
Chris.
you, thank you.
And we will be back next week with Karen, Karen, Renee, and Judy. I'm gonna say Judy's name wrong, so I'm just gonna say Judy, founders of eCourt Reporters. They will be here wrapping up our female founder series for August and September.
Nice.
So thank you for being here tonight, and we will see you next week. Thank you, Kristin. Thank you, Talitha.
Thanks.